Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Wednesday evening to you all. Hope you guys are having a great night out there and have had a great day so far and having a great week. Got you an update on the tropics. I want to remind you guys also that I'm going to continue to pump out these updates in the evenings talking about the tropics probably for the foreseeable future. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video, as I'm starting to think we're about to enter a more active period. Active compared to what we've seen so far this hurricane season, which hasn't really been active at all. So we're really going to discuss some updated model information. Have we seen any substantial changes today? No, but confidence has increased that I do think by the time we might, maybe get to this time next week, that there is going to be something trackable. Am I talking about a hurricane, a named storm? Just not sure yet, but there is some stout signals with some models that we're going to continue to uptrend here with the potential activity in the Atlantic Basin. But there's some things that could keep things down. There's some wild cards out there that's not really wild cards. I mean, they're pretty evident scenarios that really could keep things down. But there is some big time scenarios too that could also play a more significant impact here. So we're going to talk about everything, break down the model, guys. If you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it. I appreciate the support. I really do. I pump out content every day. So if you're tuning in and you're a new viewer, sometimes I make 1 to 2 videos a day and at least 1 video a day. So definitely hit the subscribe button for me. And more importantly, if you guys got anything that I can pray about, pray over, please put it in the comments below. It gives me an opportunity to pray over it, and it gives others an opportunity to do so too. Hit me up on the social media links over there. I like to have fun on the social media platforms. It's a great way to interact with what we do here. So right now, this is the National Hurricane Center as of the 2 p.m. update. Now, there might be an 8 p.m. update. Let's go on and update this and see if there is. And yep, sure enough, an 8 p.m. update, but nothing has changed. There's a 30% chance that a tropical wave right here, and stick with me here, we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about the rumors about a hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico next weekend. We're going to talk about what could pop off in the main development region, if anything at all. We're going to go over everything. Okay, we're going to talk about some things because you're going to start to see some crazy posts all over social media within the coming days if you haven't already. Some people just post things on Facebook and they go viral like crazy. They get shareable and they're able to grow their profiles without them not even really caring how responsible or irresponsible the post is. So keep that in mind. Be careful on what you share and what you believe, more importantly. But 30% chance that this tropical wave kind of meandering around Central America could sneak into the Bay of Campeche and develop. Will this be a named storm? Nothing has really increased over the last 48 hours that tells me that this is going to take Danielle. But I really do think there could be a possibility that this could surprise some people. But here it is. This is the tropical wave right here. Probably kind of difficult to see on your screen. And really it just blends in with everything else. But this will try to sneak into the very warm waters of the Bay of Campeche, areas of the Gulf of Mexico right in here, and try to form. How far north does it work? It's a big question, but no models show significant development from this either way. Just a spin, and I certainly think we will see one. The rest of the Atlantic Basin shut down right now, but you got some waves working off North Africa, and these may become a topic. And we're going to watch the Caribbean sometime around this time next week. There might be a push of moisture that we need to watch. We really do. So what we're going to do here, we're going to show you the latest GFS. We're also going to take a look at the 12Z GFS too, because the doomsday scenarios are always going to get posted everywhere. But I'm here to just keep everybody level-headed and do my part in doing that. But this is the latest GFS, the 18Z, hot off the presses, one operational one. So we'll start this off this weekend. We'll keep it rolling here. Here's that tropical wave working across the main development region. At the same time, kind of keep your eyes in this region too as we work our way into next week. If you're wondering what day we're at, here, focus your eyes right here and down here at the same time. So around the 23rd, so this is next Tuesday, about 6 days from now, you got a low pressure potentially working its way across the main development region, which is down here, MDR for short, Tropical Atlantic. This is the entire Atlantic Basin. Working through here in time, the GFS kind of likes the idea of this maintaining somewhat, but it doesn't have any significant strengthening of any of these areas of moisture down here. And this is due to dry air intrusions mid-level dry air, especially in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, that is really just wrapping up into these circulations, and it's just not allowing for these things to get going. Now, if you watch right into here, a big blob of heavier moisture gets going. At the same time, the GFS likes the uptick in activity with even this first wave, and then it starts showing this second wave that won't move off the coast of North Africa until we get into next week. So at this point, if we were to take the GFS serious, we got something brewing in the Gulf of Mexico, and then we got probably a tropical storm right here around late next weekend. Notice I said next weekend. That's pretty far out. Once you get past 200 hours out, that's an unreliable time frame. It's just a time frame that we can't take serious until we can get into what we call the medium term, or what I like to call the medium term, which is, I think, when you get around inside 150 hours. And you've already seen some consistency in the models even before then. So this keeps moving forward. You got a wave right here. You got a somewhat strengthening tropical storm. You got a big tropical push of moisture moving into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, the big interesting part about this right here is the model runs before this. The last 4 runs before this, 4 or 5 runs before this, has showed a significant storm system in the Gulf of Mexico. So, I can keep this rolling here. This shows a weak tropical storm heading towards the Lesser Antilles, a wave behind it trying to get its act together, and a push of tropical moisture. Now, you look at the European model, right? The European model, I can breeze on through this. The European model still continues not to budge. It does show this tropical wave. And I think the European model does a great job in the main development region of showing what I kind of am leaning more towards of happening. You just have a lot of dry air, and I'm going to show you this here in a second, really killing these tropical waves. You're entering a very favorable phase. You're entering climatology, a favorable time of the year. You're really getting close to, like a 2 to 3, 4 week stretch of time where you're basically entering peak season of hurricane season. And the dry air is saying, hey, you can throw all the favorable scenarios all you want, all the favorable solutions, all the the positive factors that could influence tropical systems all day long. But I'm here to stay, and I'm going to keep basically putting a dampener on these tropical systems. And sure enough, we get into next week, and it just shows some moisture down here, and you got some dry air up here, which I'm about to show you. But what about that tropical system in the Gulf? Well, you get the moisture here, but there's a lot of dry air, and nothing forms. We're 240 hours out, and nothing forms. The icon, the latest long-range icon that goes 180 hours out, it takes a pretty strong wave, and around this time next week, you got a borderline tropical storm way out in the eastern Atlantic. Normally, you don't have these tropical systems strengthening this fast. So these scenarios are all over the place, right? And the icon isn't necessarily a reliable model run at all. Sorry, I keep scratching my nose, guys. It just for some reason. But here's the 12Z GFS, and the runs prior to this was showing some runs too. All right, so don't really focus too much on this. Focus on right here, the areas of the Western Caribbean. It pops off kind of a scenario like Ida, and it creates a weak tropical wave into a weak tropical storm very quickly as you're getting into next weekend. Notice 228 hours out. This is 8 to 9 days out. Look how quickly this tells us. To me, this does a great job of kind of showing us, and here it is. Let's just go on and get a closer look at it. This really tells us a really good job of showing a bad situation that could arise here. If something like this happens, right, you get some moisture right here, and I'm about to show you the environmental aloft that could really promote rapid intensification. One thing we already know that's here is warm bathtub type temperature waters in the Gulf of Mexico. Temperatures in the upper 80s, low 90s in certain areas. So it's plenty warm enough in the Gulf of Mexico. It's like a ticking time bomb ready to set something off here. So here it is, and this is just one of these runs that you're going to get shown everywhere, right? I'm not about to post it on social media, but I'm here to tell you that this is one run. But I can tell you that the GFS has been consistent with showing some kind of energy in the Gulf of Mexico. This is kind of like what Ida did. Ida started off as a struggling storm, and the Western Caribbean finally got into the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico, rapidly intensified. You're getting a sub a 990 low pressure here. By then, it's pushing Category 1 hurricane status. By now, it's probably pushing Category 2. We're getting into not this Sunday morning, but next Sunday morning. And then you have a landfalling, probably Category 3 major hurricane in the western panhandle of Florida, areas of southern Alabama. So this is that doomsday run that you're seeing flashed everywhere, right? And if you look at the run prior to this, it also shows a landfalling hurricane and a big hurricane out here too. The 06Z run of the GFS was even more crazy. You see the run before this as a landfalling tropical system. So the GFS is adamant that something is going to get going in the Gulf of Mexico, but I can tell you the 18Z took a step back. So, you know, what would cause this? And first off, let's see the European a little bit closer. The European doesn't like anything. This is right around when the GFS likes to show this tropical moisture coming out the Western Gulf, the Western Caribbean, and moving in the Gulf of Mexico. The European doesn't like it at all. It looks like it tries to get something going right here, and then from what I'm seeing, which I'm about to show you, some dry air does not allow it. So it just goes to show you that dry air is not just out here an issue. It's an Atlantic Basin wide issue. It really is. But here's why let's say the 12Z GFS really pops off this system. Here we go. Here comes our system right into here. Pops off a low pressure right here. So we got something what we call, and I've talked about this the last 3 tropical updates, an anticyclonic flow. It means that you have winds moving in the opposite direction of this tropical system. Tropical system winds in the northern hemisphere move like this. But you see these little wind streams that are pointing this way? They are moving this way. So aloft, and this is 200 millibar wind streams, which you're looking at here, which is, by the way, 39,000 feet up in the air. So super far high up above this system, you have winds that are actually pushing air away from this system. And you're thinking from the circulation of the system. So you would think, when this gets in the Gulf of Mexico, it's happening, you would think, well Mitch, wouldn't that mean that, and let's look at 12Z actually here. Here we go, it's a perfect example here. And you say, Mitch, wouldn't that mean that that would weaken the system? No, what happens is these winds actually push air away from these systems. It allows more air to rise from the middle of the system, which allows, we've talked about this, rising air causes showers and more convection. So it would help ventilate the storm, causing, maybe a rapid intensification kind of setup. So what I'm telling you is we don't know if a GFS scenario is going to play out. What we do know is if anything gets fully into the Gulf of Mexico, it could be bad, just like the last 2 years. It's not what we want. So it's just something we got to watch out for. One thing that is a real limiting factor of any tropical development is dry air. And I think the European does a great job. Here's this tropical wave as we get into this weekend. Look at all this dry air right here in the brown. Moist air is in the green. Out in front of the storm. It actually gets wrapped up in the circulation. This wave totally disappears. Another one moves off the coast of North Africa. Dry air meets it, and it really gets wrapped up in this one. So out of all, there's like 3 signals. Really, there's 4 if you talk about the system that could sneak into the Bay of Campeche this weekend. That's actually the first one. But these waves just keep getting tangled up with this dry air that it really in the mid-levels is really, really causing these systems not to develop. So this is the European ensembles, right? So it doesn't really look like it, but there's 4 signals here. There's this one, which will really unfold and not be a story anymore by the time we're this time next week. You got this one right into here. This is that signal that's liking the idea of something forming maybe in the Caribbean and sneaking into the Gulf of Mexico. So you notice you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I might have miscounted, but whatever here. 14 out of 50 members, which makes up an ensemble, the European ensemble. 14 out of 50, that's not good. So even though you look at this and you're saying, well, dang, that's a bunch of L's. That looks like a solid signal. 14 out of 50 members really isn't a solid signal. Now you look at another signal right here, and this is the first tropical wave moving through the Atlantic Basin, the tropical Atlantic. Same kind of scenario, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, around 17, 18 members out of 50. So not a lot of members. And one thing you can see here is even the members that do form are very, very weak. All of them are above 1,000 millibar low pressure, which isn't even a tropical storm status. Now, the signal for the second wave is a little bit more solid. And I really think that is the case because if you look here, there might be a moist bubble created by this first wave that actually sacrifices itself to the dry air, creating more of a moist kind of bubble for this other wave to come through. But I don't even think that's going to be the case if you were to take this run as if it's going to happen. So we got to figure out what's going to happen, guys. And honestly, this is a tough one. It is. But to me, it looks inevitable that things are going to start to uptick. This is the latest GEFS Ensembles. Not a super strong signal here either. But in general, we need to watch out because things could get pretty crazy pretty quick here. If it's anything like the GFS, then it's going to be a little light switch, and things are going to go from quiet to very active. So that's all I got, guys. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'll have you another update on the tropics tomorrow evening, and I'll have you an update for the weather tomorrow in the morning. So God bless all y'all. Have a great night.